Hello, I'm David Breeden. I'm the Senior Minister at First Unitarian Society of Minneapolis, a historically humanist congregation, and this is Coffee and Wisdom. This week, we are looking at satirical religions to take seriously. So far, we've talked about the flying spaghetti monster who wants you to talk like a pirate as being one of the satirical religions out there, one of the more popular ones. I've also mentioned something called Poes Law, which is part of internet culture, stating that without a clear indicator of the author's intent, it is impossible to create a parody of extreme views so obviously exaggerated that it cannot be mistaken by some readers for a sincere expression of the views being parodied. So it's almost impossible to overstate things on the internet, says this law. If you don't put a smiley face, we don't know, or many people won't catch the fact that you're being satirical. I mentioned there are a couple of different ways of doing what we would call satirical religions. One is about Russell's teapot, that is making claims that can't be falsified and saying this is just like religion, and then moving toward some kind of recognition of that religion. The other way of doing it is a little bit different. This is an idea in which it is holy and sacred to copy things and share them on the internet. This is a religion that was recognized in Sweden, not in the United States. But here the idea is that the religious commitment is an important thing to do, and therefore some other things need to be religiously committed to, including the spreading of information on the internet. So what I've been talking about so far, and to quickly summarize, here is the Church of Bacon. You can get the t-shirt. What do satirical religions really hold sacred? Well, it's not bacon, right? Usually, to summarize, I think it's reason, logic, evidence, and science, secular values, not religious values, the separation of religion and state, and tolerance. These tend to be the key points of satirical religions. Well, today I want to think for a moment about this red guy, Satan, the devil, and look at how we kind of use him as well. Of course, we have within our culture certain cultural expectations of what Satan is, bad guy, et cetera, et cetera. We really, though, have a very different view of Satan floating around in our culture. It is probably most famously expressed by John Milton in his Paradise Lost. Milton was a Puritan poet who took religion quite seriously, the Christian religion quite seriously, and he really gives Satan, or Lucifer in this case, the fallen angel, a very different kind of character. And this becomes the romantic hero in literature. Lucifer, or Satan, as a fallen angel, as a rebel, as a freedom fighter, and as someone standing up against the hierarchy and patriarchy to fight back. So that kind of character is going to inform what we're talking about today, because not everyone takes the Satan character all that seriously. Satan's Bake Sale, mint chocolate chip stout. You too can get that. And yes, there are Satan's Bake Sales out there that are sponsored by the group that I'm going to talk about today. Also, you can join in after school Satan. It's important, says the group here, to give an opportunity to realize that evangelical materials that are now creeping into schools are representative of but one religious opinion among many. While the Good News Clubs focus on indoctrination, that would be indoctrination into a very fundamentalist evangelical style of Christianity, instilling them with a fear of hell and God's wrath. After school Satan clubs will focus on free inquiry and rationalism, the scientific basis. So again, you see where this is going, a satirical religion that's going to be talking about the separation of church and state, reason, logic, and evidence. The best book that I know of to talk about the group that I will be discussing today, which is the Satanic Temple, is this one. A scholar went into and studied the documents, talked to the still living principal characters who formed this group. And the book is called Speak of the Devil: How the Satanic Temple is Changing the Way We Talk About Religion. I reviewed this book on my blog some months ago. A brilliant book. And interestingly enough, we, even at the end of the book, we're still not quite sure how much are they joking, how much are they being serious. That's a little bit hard to kind of figure here. So let's look a little bit at these ideas, because I do have to quickly point out, and this is something that I got from the net that was done by the Satanic Temple, to draw a distinction between the Satanic Temple and the Church of Satan. Okay, number one, that the Satanic Temple, the one I'm talking about today, was formed in 2013. The Church of Satan goes back into the mid-1960s in California. Yeah, both. This one is recognized as tax exempt by the IRS. Yay, Satanic Temple, right? Taken seriously by credible religious scholars as a manifestation of modern Satanism. Yeah, both of those are, as a matter of fact. And notice this one: belief in an actual Satan, no and no. This is one of the interesting things about these satanic churches. As more and more people don't believe in Christianity, of course, you have to believe in Christianity in order to believe in the Christian Satan. So if you believe in Christianity enough to believe in the Christian Satan, why would you want to follow the Christian Satan who's going to get you to hell? Good question. So most people really don't take the idea of Satan terribly seriously, although the Church of Satan in California do believe in magic. The Satanic Temple does not, again, because they stand very much for logic and reason and evidence. Foundational texts, the vast literary canon, says the Satanic Temple, and this is very important. That's why I pointed out Milton to you, that Satan appears in a whole bunch of Western literature and is a character to be dealt with, just like Hamlet is a character to be dealt with. In the Church of Satan, founded in 1966, it is the writings of Anton LaVey. Anton LaVey is a very interesting, a very American, very California kind of character who did found the Church of Satan. So you can look them up online, and it's fascinating stuff. Also, we will talk about, civil liberty campaigns, socially and politically active. Yes, there you go. The Satanic Temple is involved in American social and political issues today. So there's the difference. One kind of takes magic and black magic seriously. The other does not. So the Satanic Temple, it was founded by Douglas Misico, also known as Lucian Greaves. That's how he appears often, usually. And also sometimes he calls himself Douglas Messner. According to the circumstance, he does this because of constant death threats, so that he tries to pass under some of the radar. He studied neuroscience, specializing in false memory syndrome. All right, this is important also. He is a neuroscientist, and you may remember that false memory syndrome was a big thing a few years ago, with really finally finding out that therapists were implanting ideas in people's minds, and then they would say, yes, this happened to me. And he found this phenomenon extremely interesting. All right, so he describes the Satanic Temple as a poison pill in the church-state debate. And this is extremely important. That's why it was originally founded as a poison pill in the church-state debate. Members do not worship Satan or believe that Satan exists outside of literary representations. And this is, again, very important, that it is a literary-based belief system, if you will. It was founded to fight a court case in the state of Oklahoma. Also, then they moved on to Arkansas. In Oklahoma, in the state capitol building, they put up the 10 Commandments. So this group sued, saying, hey, we want to set up our statue. Here it is. We're going to give it to you. Well, said these state legislators in Oklahoma, I don't think we want Satan on our courthouse lawn. And eventually the court case came down to removing the Ten Commandments because it's really, really difficult to say why you would want the Ten Commandments on your courthouse lawn and you wouldn't want a literary representation of the classic Satan on your courthouse lawn if you're talking about what belief systems. Satan's in there too, right? So why not do that? So it really came down to a question of how can we have this? You can read the cases; they're very interesting. This particular photo here with the statue tied down is occurred in front of the Arkansas state capitol. Again, another similar idea. Actually, only two of these exist, and one of them is in Salem, Massachusetts, which, yes, you would guess with all the witchcraft, that would indeed be the headquarters for this organization. Well, what is this character? Well, it's actually Baphomet. And this is important, really, to understand that this is not Satan, and they're not saying it's Satan. This is Baphomet. Now, who's Baphomet? Well, he is a fictional character invented by the Knights Templar during the Middle Ages when they were being tortured to say, who do you believe in? So when they came back from their crusades, they were extremely wealthy knights, particularly in France, and they were tried as, well, they have to be Satanists. There's something wrong with them. So they were tortured, and eventually they got out of them this idea of Baphomet, that they worshipped him. Well, guess what? There is no such thing, and nor has there ever been, but they invented him, and now here he is. You'll notice a couple of things here. Number one, the star at the top of his forehead there has the point going up. Those of you who know about magic know that that means that it is white magic, good magic, not black magic, which would have the star turned the other way around. Also, you see the caduceus. This goes back to very ancient Egyptian thinking that snakes are in some way holy and tie together the worlds of the upper and the lower worlds. We've talked a little bit about that before in terms of alchemy. So here you go, a couple of kids looking up admiringly to this character. And there you have it. So this is straight off of the website for the Satanic Temple. About us, the mission of the Satanic Temple is to encourage benevolence and empathy, reject tyrannical authority, advocate for practical common sense, oppose injustice, and undertake noble pursuits. Well, that's not exactly what most people expect out of Satanism, is it? And their foundational tenets. There are 7. 1, one should strive to act with compassion and empathy toward all creatures in accordance with reason. Sounds kind of like humanism, doesn't it? 2, the struggle for justice is an ongoing and necessary pursuit that should prevail over laws and institutions. 3, one's body is inviolable, subject to one's own will alone. You can see where that's going to take them in the abortion debate, of course. 4, the freedoms of others should be respected, including the freedom to offend. To willfully and unjustly encroach upon the freedoms of another is to forego one's own. Very much, again, in the liberal religious tradition of conscience there. 5, belief should conform to one's best scientific understanding of the world. One should take care never to distort scientific facts to fit one's beliefs. Again, sounds kind of like humanism, doesn't it? And 6, people are fallible. If one makes a mistake, one should do one's best to rectify it and resolve any harm that might have been caused. And 7, every tenet is a guiding principle designed to inspire nobility in action and thought. The spirit of compassion, wisdom, and justice should always prevail over the written or spoken word. So there you have it. Those are the tenets of the Satanic Temple. And they do sound a lot like humanism and secular values, as indeed they really are. So the Satanic Temple, we have publicly confronted hate groups fought for the abolition of corporeal punishment in public schools, applied for equal representation when religious installations were placed on public property, provided religious exemption and legal protection against laws that unscientifically restrict women's reproductive autonomy, exposed harmful pseudoscientific practitioners in mental health care, organized clubs alongside other religious after-school clubs and schools, besieged by proselytizing organizations, and engaged in other advocacy in accordance with our tenets. Again, not really what you expect, but yes, they do have satanic bake sales and after-school programs. And they try to pass out literature to counteract that, the evangelical materials that we were talking about earlier. Several different court cases have gone on about this. Again, they're acting as a poison pill to point out when religious liberty is being infringed upon by various groups. You too can get the T-shirt. There you go. Hail Satan. There's swag online. I think you'll find it very interesting to look at this group. Are they serious? Well, they're serious about something. It's just probably not serious about what most people think they're being serious about. And that is the seriousness of this particular group and why, they are a satirical religious group, but they're doing some very good work in, especially with the questions of the separation of church and state. So join me tonight at 7 p.m., Bibles and Beer. Isaac Gets Pranked. I'll be talking about the patriarch this evening and also a little bit about how books get into the Bible, the canon and how that develops. That's at 7 o'clock, the Central Time tonight. Be glad to see you then, and I'll be back tomorrow to talk a little bit more about satirical religions. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you later.